Hi, this is the Forest Daughter Creole, and I'm going to try to talk loudly so you can hear me over the fans. It's already above 80 in my kitchen here. This journal is called Wizard's Wanderings, and the beautiful cover artwork, which got it all started, is Forest Fantasy Creatures by Digital's Scrap Helper on Etsy. All of the digital artists I use are on Etsy, and I will link them all below to the best of my ability. This book has 5 signatures, mostly tea-dyed and coffee-dyed paper and digital artwork. It is a floating cover, which means that the signatures are stitched to fabric, which is then glued into the book. The spine itself is 3 inches. The cover is 6 1/4 inches wide by 9 1/4 inch tall. And all together, this has 3 bookmarks, 1 booklet, and 30 tags and or writing cards. So let's get started. Oh, I should tell you that there's 110 pages when counting the fronts and backs. I tied it with twine to keep it kind of rustic. I didn't really want anything terribly effeminate or too lacy. This is not a very feminine journal. It would work well for men. I'm going to start with the cover itself. It's on sturdy cardboard, and it's made by being covered with 2 pieces of upholstery scrap. The darker one has seam binding on part of it, but did not have it on part of it, so I used DMC floss and did a little blanket stitching and then hand stitched it in place all the way around, so it is secure. The corners are some pretty vintage cotton fabric. Just to give you an idea, it's not a very wide gator mouth, so you do have room to add quite a few things to this journal. And go back to the cover pocket. So in addition to having the Forest Fantasy Creatures by Digital Scrap Helper, I have framed this with some wonderfully decorative strips called Sacred Pagan Kit by Very Pair. Inside here is the first of your 3 bookmarks. It's on old photo journal paper, or the cover of an old journal. It's got some vintage digital end papers, which is really a fun set to back cards with. It's from Endpapers Kit 2 by the Scrapologist. And this pretty forest view is by Bubblefly Digi, and it's Earthy Forest kit. Room on the back, I've used little pieces from a kit by Fable Journal that shows medieval prayers in a manuscript format. Okay. The back is a pocket that has some really pretty English ivy patterns on it from a kit called English Ivy. Inside is a piece of digital artwork from a kit called the Herbal Witch, which I absolutely love this piece of paper, and I have incorporated it in many ways in this book. It's just so evocative. You can just slip into it in so many ways. It's got motes dancing around trees. Down in the corner is a fortune teller with a crystal ball. Over here on this side, we have another figure, or rather crystals. I think these are crystals. Up in this corner, there's an owl, and the colors just tied together so many of the other kits. So I really enjoy this kit. Again, this is called the Herbal Witch by Amy Joy Studios. So all I've done is printed out on some cream colored copy paper and left it in here for you to use as you wish. You can take it apart and add collage to the pages inside, or you can write and send it off in the mail to a friend. It's just a really pretty piece of artwork. This has all been varnished with matte varnish to make it sturdy enough to be the cover of the book and to handle the twine being wrapped around it. So let's go inside. Well, before we go inside, I need to show you, the spine decoration. These coins were designed and sold as artwork to be used under glass cabicons, which magnifies them. I didn't choose to go that way. So what I have done is, this is by Steam Factory DE, and it's Enchanted Forest. There's a stag, a fox, a unicorn, and an owl. And they're the same print on both sides. I cut out the circles and put them on some decorative green paper and sandwiched a thin piece of cardboard in between, and then sealed them with matte varnish so they're clicky-clacky. The chain is brass-coated iron, nice and chunky, and at the bottom is just a little charm of the world tree. At the top is a grommet that holds it, and a nice heavy jump ring, and it's held on with a lobster clasp so it can be easily removed. I didn't want to add anything more because I love the cloth that it's on, the colors, the teals and dark greens, and I wanted everybody to be able to play with the coins without them getting tangled in ribbon. So that is how the back of the spine is decorated. Okay, going inside, let's see if I can get this to focus a little better. Okay. The inside cover is that medieval manuscript prayer set again. You'll see that worked throughout. And let me see who that's by. That's by Fable Journal. Then there's a whole series of summary woodland prints with a little bit of a fantasy feel to them. And that's called Magical Forest Journal Pages by Forging Forth Digital. And you'll see those often on the signature covers. Again, these are little decorative strips from the Sacred Pagan kit by Very Pear, and I can't recommend this enough. Let me see if I can pull out a piece of it so that you can see how gorgeous they are. Here's just one page, and I've obviously been working from it, but you can see the bright colors, the black that makes them pop. You cut out the strips and use them as decorations, or cut out the circle bits at the bottom. It just has so much potential to add interest to so many things. So you'll see that used quite a bit and quite freely in this book. Okay, this is more of the English Ivy book, and this is your second bookmark. It's got some twine, some ribbon, and it's just the lark's head tie with room to write. I have hand dyed all of the dyed paper that you see in this book, and it's either tea or coffee. To get some of these really patterns, I soak it in tea. I use Louisiana family tea bags because that's what I like to drink. And then when it's almost dry, I spread it out on a vinyl tablecloth with a fan on it. I add more drops of tea or drops of coffee or tea leaves and let it absorb and make patterns. So that's where most of these patterns come from. A little bit of fussy cutting in this corner. I have hand torn almost all of the pages to give them a rustic feel. This is a little pocket, just a doodling I did of wood sorrel from my backyard. More of the ivy. This is a card from a kit called Curiosities Cabinet by Ink and Page Journal. The backing is more of those wonderful Endpapers, and a little piece of a strip from the Pagan kit is used to hold that in place. Here's a centerfold. This takes 2 pages from that summary kit that we started with. So this page is ferns. Then I cut a page up to make these cards and added a little bit of the Latin from the medieval manuscript. Held them in place. with strips of the Endpaper kits and just used a backstop to keep them from sliding out the bottom. The ties on the signatures are DMC floss, a 5-hole pamphlet punch stitch, and then I have tried to use kind of coordinating DMC floss. Okay. More writing space, and I'm trying to include so much of that. You write your own summer wanderings down. These strips where you see what looks like buttons, beads, different shades of paper are from kits by the Rusty Glass. This is called Lost World, I believe. Lost World's Old Growth by Rusty Glass Designs. Inside, I've just tucked another couple of doodles, stuff in my backyard, plenty of room to write on the back. Most of the pages that I tea dye are a lot sturdier or heavier weight than copy paper. That allows you to add your own collages or use any kind of clip you like to hold things in place. They're sturdy and they don't tear easily. They also have a really nice texture, a little bit of tooth to them. They're not real shiny smooth. Some fancy cutting from a kit called Birds and Berries, and that's by Tukey Designs. Again, I'll try to list all of these artists in the description below. That's more of those summary pictures from the Magic Forest journal pages by Forging Forth Digital. I have used a stamp to put in one of my favorite ruins. It can be interpreted as an open gaming bag that has game pieces in it, so it can mean fortune or the unknown, two common interpretations. This brown paper is sturdier than paper bag. It's heavy duty wrapping paper. It's a nice crunch to it. A little bit of parchment paper, just room for you to write out a dream, maybe some tarot card readings. Here's the wizard himself on his journey. My lights are kind of bright. Let's see if I can turn that away a little bit. It's still a little bright. What happens if I turn this out? I think we're okay. The centerpieces in most of the signatures are a kit called Wood Elves by Digital Scrap Helper, and I'm in love. It reminds me so much of Rivendell. It's just really beautiful. Again, I just tied it 5-hole pamphlet stitch with some beautiful teal blue floss. More of the Rusty Glass Lost World's Old Growth kit. This is Bubblefly Digi. She has a wonderful kit called Earthy Trees, I believe, and it's just dreamy, easy to work with. Here I have taken apart that same Herbal Witch page that was included in the front, just because I love the color play in these. The back is a beautiful purpley brown with texture. You can write whatever you like. More of the fussy cutting. I bought a whole kit just for these two berry digitals because they felt so summer to me, late summer, that I wanted to include them for sure. They're from a kit called Dark Forest by Vintage Craft Babe. They added a little bit of black ribbon, a little bit of old book pages. Inside we've got a whole bunch of stuff to play with. These big cards are from the Curiosity Cabinet Kit. Just little pieces of paper. I wish I could get the color on these right. They're really a rich tan. coming out a little light in this sunlight today. Another strip from the Pagan, Sacred Pagan Kit. This paper was from a photo journal, and it's really texture. It's almost like a natural fiber. It's more of the Lost Worlds rusty glass digital. We did a little cutout here, a little fussy cutting. You can feel what I've added. It raises above the surface of the paper, so it's kind of fun just to see what's been tucked on. Here is another centerfold from the Wood Elves kit. Again, tried to match the floss to the picture colors. Tiny little writing spaces on these tags. And this one, get it where you can see it, says most goodly glee. It's just fun to say. That's from a long poetry about the Queen. This pretty unicorn tag is from Momen Trees. Let me put it where you can see it. And I have just added some decorative copy paper folded and glued, so both sides have a little bit of the pretty color and border. Down in this corner, we have just a little bit of gold glitter burlap, some strips from the Latin again. Writing space, 3 tags here. Top one opens. Some thin writing paper. There's a piece, I think, of an Art Nouveau botanical book. And I'll include the digital artist down below. This is another piece of the Birds and Berries kit. And the beads on this are check glass and Toho. Just can't seem to get it all in here. Okay, onward. Another page with lots of busyness. Oops. Little snippets of blank paper. These are really good for dreams or wishes. Added some stars here to echo the stars in one of the Pagan strips. More decorative paper for bits of writing. Okay, this is another of the Bubblefly Digi from the Earthy Forest kit. More of that beautiful brown wrapping paper with its creases. This is another Momentary kit called Persian Gardens, I believe. And inside I've tucked 5 tags. 4 tags? 4 tags. This is a Liana Scrap Ephemera kit. And again, these are just Toho glass beads, the little iridescents. The pink paper here is avocado dyed paper. I did that myself. Some Bubblefly Digi Forest again. All the edges are torn. Another Birds and Berries. Here I echoed the birds in flight on the brown paper. This is another of the Enchanted Forest. You'll recognize it by its beautiful teal colors. They're the Wild Sunflower 1233 is the name of that Etsy shop, the Wild Sunflower, $12.33. It's bright teal. I love this stag and castle and moon. I can just see fairy tales. I loved the paper so much in this kit that I've included some for you to play with. Printed on a cream paper. And the pockets are really sturdy. They'll hold a lot. On this side is another one of the Wood Elves kit. The turrets just felt so medieval. You can almost see Rapunzel leaning out of one of these. Just lovely. So you can write notes to your friends on these, split them into cards, tear them up for collage, just pull them out and daydream like I do. Okay. Of course, the band is, again, The Sacred Pagan by Verie, V-E-R-I-E. The background is Enchanted Forest. Doesn't this look like it would be, you can just see the fellowship up at this door waiting to learn to say friend and enter. It's gorgeous. Little tiny Indian bells on a dark brown purple floss. It's a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and inside are just lots of blank writing pages. The cover is that Herbal Witch design again. This one, I highlighted the owl up here in the corner. It's camouflage. Takes a little work to see it, but when you do, it's really beautiful. I wanted to leave you plenty of room to do your own collaging and writing. Added the leaf, some decorative bits down here, papers. Again, another rustic glass digital. And in this, surrounded by Bubblefly Digi's artwork, I have included a finger labyrinth. It's not a maze. There's not more than one choice to get where you're going. You just move slowly through it. It's very relaxing and very meditative. So you start with the arrow. You can find labyrinths in some really old, beautiful Catholic churches. Some pretty gardens will have the walkways done as a labyrinth. And then you wind your way back out again. It's a nice sturdy paper, so you'll be able to use it over and over again. The back side, I'm starting to recognize the rusty glass digitals here. 2 more cards from the Curiosity cabinet by Ink and Page. And slip this in this way. A little fern sticking out. Okay, and another strip of the Pagan, Sacred Pagan. I'm telling you guys, if you got to get just one thing that I've used, get that. You'll be amazed at how many ways you can use it. Okay, we're coming up against the last signature. This is another of the Forest Elves, Wood Elves by Digital Scrap Helper. Some more of the Enchanted Forest. Some beautiful dark green, dark teal papers. And here's your third bookmark. I found some vintage fabric that actually repeats the colors in this. It's really pretty. And then I just roughened up the edges a little. The back gives you room to write your own medieval manuscript. Some of the Latin words, the vintage Endpapers. You look careful here, I've stacked 2 or 3 papers. It's really pretty in person. The ribbon is a little bit of grapes to echo the grapes that show through here. In this pocket are 4 little writing tags. You can write on the front or back or both. The final signature centerpiece is a bench and columns. It kind of invites you in to take a rest in the shade of the vines, enjoy the summer. This is a little tiny metal button that for some reason to me just echoed the circle here and some of the colors that play through the columns. And it's just on a bulb pin. Here's another little pocket, more writing space. Hidden pocket, here we go. Room again. Just use a dark pen. You can use a flare tip pen, a felt pen, gel pen. Here I took 2 of the English Ivy cards, poked holes with a thumbtack, and threaded through a really fine Krynic gold braid. It's not showing up very well. I'm sorry about that, but it does shimmer in person. It's really pretty. And the back of that tree, and again the beautiful paper. So it gives you a lot of space for your own imagination and a lot of beautiful images to help you jump off. I'll have this listed in my Etsy shop, which is the Forest Daughters shop, no apostrophe, on Etsy, probably in a day or 2. I need to take some photos with more natural sunlight. So thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you are enjoying making and using your own junk journals.